Hey everyone, before the review starts, I just want to bring everybody's attention to this one little thing. In my last review, a viewer actually said that at the end of my Twilight Zone reviews, I should actually have a overall rating for the episode and in my review. And I actually thought about it, and I thought that that sounded like a pretty good idea. I think it actually helps because they said that if you do that, then your overall feelings and impression for the actual episode will kind of be shown in a nice, wrapped up kind of way. And so I'm going to be doing that from this point on for my future reviews of the Twilight Zone, and I'm going to be rating them in my usual style, the same way I would review music movies. And so I'm going to be rating them from worst to better, best, and it's going to go from cowbell to silver sticks to golden guitar. So from bad to good but could have been better to masterpiece. And so that's going to happen from this point on, and there we go. We have a rating system. Mr. Denton on Doomsday is an episode that takes the conventions of the Wild West story and turns it upside down. It's an Old West tale that's not about trying to stay alive, it's about living. This is one of those Twilight Zones where the motif of the episode takes center stage and the science fiction comes second. It's all about how Al Denton's journey and character unfolds as the story progresses, and also how the people around him are affected by his transformation from town drunk to old hotshot gunslinger. Henry J. Faith, the magical medicine man that gave Al Denton his redemption, is not played as the mysterious figure who gives away all his secrets once the protagonist asks him what his motivations are. His character is treated like every other wandering medicine man, and his magical side is not the most important thing we need to know. He may be nothing more than a plot device, and we might ask the question, why is he doing this for a stranger? But the less we know about him and his tricks, just gives even more mystery to this unknown figure, and besides, isn't that what every helpful medicine man is in these kind of stories? The way the Wild West element is presented here makes this not only one of the Twilight Zone's best dramatic episodes that features a period setting, but it could stand as a pretty good Western episode in its own right. This episode showcased some great performances, and the whole cast turned out some fine top-of-the-line acting. I agree with what's said about Dan Duryea from the Twilight Zone Companion. He looks and acts just like a town drunk, and we end up wondering what's going to happen to him now that he's back on his feet and pulling the trigger. It's a riveting, sympathetic performance. Martin Landau is fantastically slimy as the town bully. The way he puts on that crazy face of his would make you believe that he was evil crazy since the day he was born. He's so effective as the mini-villain, he doesn't even need to wear that black outfit to show off his badness, because all of it is shown in his face alone. Martin Landau is definitely one of the main highlights of the episode. Even though the music score was stock music here, I thought it gave the perfect Western sound this episode needed, with the violin and little Spanish guitar as the main theme, and the use of the bass drums during that final shootout was a nice touch. The most interesting thing that stood out for me in this episode was how gunfighting was represented in the story. It felt like it was presented in a samurai-like way. If somebody is a part of it, then they have some unwritten honor to uphold and must live a specific way of life as a gunfighter. The townspeople see it as an everyday event that's business as usual, and also as a microcosm of their environment. Thanks to Mr. Faith, the climactic shootout ends in a draw due to Mr. Denton and his challenger both taking a potion before the shootout, and the spell makes both shooters aim for the other's hand, thus ending their lives as gunslingers. It's easy to see that Mr. Faith did a favor for both parties in this case. Denton no longer has to be the honorable gunslinger of the town and doesn't have to keep defending that title until his dying day, and the young challenger doesn't have to end up in that same life. But I also see this moment of change as something that just doesn't affect the shooters, but the world around them as well. Because this was the first time nobody died in a shootout, it probably made people think twice about what these shootouts mean. If someone wants to prove they're a somebody, do we have to have these kinds of events as part of our way of life? I like to think that because of this duel, it made the people of this story denounce violence from their lives. Now, I might be overthinking the story a little bit by saying this, but for me, not only do I see this as a moral story that tells you that people can be set free from their vices, from my point of view, I see it as a rare Wild West story that ends with a live and let live message. Plus, isn't it crafty that in a story about saving lives, the one thing that saves everyone at the end of the day is a gun? How ironic and cool is that? Mr. Denton on Doomsday is an episode that I highly recommend, and if you don't care for westerns, then you will probably find this to be an intriguing interpretation that catches your fancy. I would give this episode a golden guitar.